quarter bends, half bends, full bends, tone bends, pre-bend and release, unison bends, lightning bolt, supersonic awesome bends. In this video, we're going to look at string bending. Now, string bending is essentially playing a note, then moving the string and raising the pitch of that note. So let us get started in the basic principles of bending a string, because it's not just about pushing the fingers and hoping. You need to get some control in there. So let's see what we need to do. So if you put your hand like this, we're going to try and use a kind of a pivot system with your hand there. Obviously that's quite far away and not realistic. You wouldn't have a string there because obviously you don't pull a string back like that. But what I'm going to do is, the 3-finger string bend is probably the most common. So if I put 3 fingers and my 3rd finger's on the note I want to bend, what I do is I play the note and I kind of move my fingers like that. So I'm kind of pivoting here but also slightly pushing. So that's a bend up and down. As you can see, I'm pivoting that, but I am also pushing the string as well. But not like when you see people doing that, I'm just hoping really. You want to have some kind of control over the bend. So you want to bend up when you want to bend up, and then bend back down when you want to bend down. So you're not just pushing the string and hoping you're going to get to the correct pitch, which is what we're going to look at today. So as you've seen, I've used my 1st and 2nd fingers to give strength to my 3rd finger. They're all on the string and they're all grouped together, squashed together to give this finger the strength it needs. Looking at that pivot action, I'm turning this and I'm pivoting, but also I'm pushing with these fingers. So now let's just look at what fingers you can bend with and what fingers are best to bend with. So in theory, you can bend with any finger, but like I said, you want a bit of control over your bend, because if you don't have control and you're in the middle of a solo, you might be pushing that string to a certain place, but if you can't get there, it's just going to sound out of tune and you won't have any control about how high or low you can get that note. So let's just see. So if I was, say, using my 1st finger, there's not a lot of strength in that. You could maybe do a quarter bend, but there's not a lot of strength in 1 finger. 2 fingers, you've got more strength. You group them together. A little bit more strength, not a massive amount, but you could still use that. 3 fingers, I think, is the key to bending really, which is having 2 fingers to give strength to that 3rd finger. If I was bending from string 5, it gives it a nice bit of strength to your bend. Now 4 fingers, yes, I often bend with 4 fingers if I need to. Let's look at the different kinds of bends there are. I mean, there's quarter bends, half bends, full bends, tone bends, pre-bend and release, unison bends, lightning bolt, supersonic awesome bends. No, that's not really a bend, but it could be. But no, we're going to look at just the regular bends you come across. So the most common bend is the full bend, or sometimes called the tone bend. Now, each of these frets on the guitar is a semitone apart. So each note here is a semitone apart. 2 semitones together make a tone. So a normal tone bend, a full bend, if I'm bending this note here, I'm actually trying to make the sound of this note here. So if I go here and I bend, a full bend, I'm trying to make the sound of that. So it's a good idea to listen to that note when you're practicing, go back 2 frets and bend to that note. So listen, you must listen and just see how it feels to bend that much and push your fingers and pivot your hand. That's all about, it's about you getting used to the feel of how much it takes to get to a certain bend. So like I said, if I'm doing a tone bend, you can do that. So for a little practice, you can go 2 frets ahead, go. The aim is to get 2 frets higher. That's for a full bend or a tone bend. They are the same thing. It's just a different name for the same action. Okay, so a quarter bend, that in effect is just half a fret's difference. And that is a bit like putting your guitar out of tune. That would be a quarter bend. So a half bend is only 1 fret apart. So That's a semitone. The full bend, which we did before, 2 frets apart. Okay, so now we come to pre-bends. What is a pre-bend? So a pre-bend is where the note is already being bent before you pick the note. So for example. Now this is where a pre-bend and release comes in. So if I have a note that's already bent and I bend it back down again, so that is a pre-bend, and then pre-bend and release is the same thing, and you're bending down and releasing the pressure on your fingers. Okay, so now we'll come to unison bends. Unison bends can either be where 2 strings are bent both together at the same time, or one string is kept the same and the other one is bending. For example, if I put my first finger on string 1 fret 5 and I have my other second and third fingers, or I could use my little finger as well, just to give it strength, don't forget. If I use those and I play both strings, and I'm getting them both to match the same sound. Also, a unison bend can be where both strings are bent. So if I'm playing these two, they are both getting bent at the same time. So if you take anything out of this lesson, what it feels like to bend, listen to the bend, and just make sure you kind of learn to control the bend itself. Okay, so until next time, take care, and I'll see you later.